So this is supposed to be the slow time of year, but that's not true if you live in Japan.
No, it's not.
What happened today?
They got a Persona 5 trailer. It looks really awesome. It's supposed to come out this year, both in North America and Japan, for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. And they sort of teased it early last year and then announced it, but this is the first actual look that we've got at the game.
It's a big deal. People love Persona 4. I love Persona 4.
Oh yeah, and all of its various spin-offs.
Yeah, no, and this trailer was like a really exciting reveal of the gameplay, because we really haven't seen anything of that yet. Most of what we saw was sort of, the main character moving around the city, which is, the game is set in Tokyo now.
In Shibuya.
In Shibuya, yeah. And we didn't get to see any combat that I recall, right?
We did. We saw combat later on in the trailer. It showed the UI kind of looks like previous Persona games.
Okay.
It's very similar, but towards the end they do show the three characters sort of flipping around, like summoning their personas. You can use guns. That's a big thing I noticed in this game is there are guns. Like they show the UI, but in the UI they have you pick the weapon and it's a gun. And we haven't really seen people use guns very much in combat in Persona games, so that's new.
Yeah.
I like that the normal walking around the world looks like Catherine. Like the game looks like Catherine.
Yeah.
The graphics are way better than Persona 4, and it looks like conversations won't be like, we didn't see any menus where an avatar popped up and there was text on the screen. We saw them sitting around a table over a map talking. Like I wonder if that's what cutscenes will be in Persona 5. There'll be actual cutscenes instead of having an avatar talk, which would be awesome.
Yeah, because they've had a few anime movies based in the Persona series, based on 3 and 4 lately, so I wonder if they're kind of pulling from that. In regards to those games, like, did you notice any connections to some of the characters or the world, even the timing?
Okay, so there are two things. Number one, they show Igor with looks like 2 new assistants.
Right, yeah.
And then they show the Velvet Room, but the Velvet Room looks kind of like a jail now. They show it twice, which is interesting. But I noticed on the upper left corner, they have the date. And the date is April 11th, 4/11, and that time in April is where Persona 3 and Persona 4, where the events of those games kick off.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, do these games are they occurring all at the same time, or is it like a parallel? I don't know, whatever they do with Persona, but I just think it's interesting that like that date is like there. That's like so significant.
Yeah, this is a series with like a really passionate fan base, so Atlas is basically just stoking that fire in everyone.
Something that I noticed is in the part of the trailer where they show the kitty cat running around and they have the words across the screen, they're all words that relate to the 7 deadly sins. Like you have lust and gluttony and like and anger and greed and stuff like that, and I'm wondering how that is going to play into the game. My guess is they show those characters around a map and then they show those 4 kids running around, or the 3 kids running around in like full-on suits, and like the main protagonist has that like tuxedo mask on, and they're sort of hidden, and I'm wondering if they are some sort of like vigilante group like running around the city, and if that ties into that, or if they're maybe like bad kids, if this Persona stars like really bad kids. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. They also, I noticed the dungeons. They showed the main character jumping on chandeliers and sort of maneuvering around, and it looks like they've added some platforming and then stealth elements to dungeons when he was stealthing through the hallway.
He was jumping over chandeliers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Platforming stuff.
Yeah.
That stood out to me as well. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I'm kind of excited for it. And then when he was stealthing up the hallway, like enemies don't appear as like a shapeless whatever. Like you can see what's ahead of you. Yeah. I think that game will sort of, it's moving away from the avatars talking and like the sort of other like more classic ways of doing dungeons and stuff, and I think this is going to be a big deal. Like I can tell that Atlas has put a lot of time and thought into making this game. It looks awesome.